Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along. Which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/zip. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/zip. That's ZipRecruiter.com/zip. ZipRecruiter.com/zip.
The Timeline is a Blue Wire podcast. Welcome to the Timeline, a Phoenix Suns podcast. Suns are down 0-2. We're coming at you immediately after the game. My name is Mike, here with Sam. How's it going, Sam?
We got the fake comeback in Game 2. We got the first quarter that the Suns won in this series. So we got them, just like I said, after the end of Game 1, we got them right where we want them.
That's right. It was a tough to watch game in this one. There was always going to be one of those games where the refs really piss you off, and this was one. I mean, they were not great in Game 1. This was worse, though, right? Am I wrong? Am I just filled with rage after 2 games of getting killed?
There could for sure end up being 2 or 3 or 4 games where the refs piss us off in this series, but this one was a little bit egregious, especially with the calls on Devin Booker throughout the game. The technical foul that I know you posted where he just was saving the ball behind his back and was not looking in the direction of Jalen with an eye Williams whatsoever, but the ball just happened to hit Jalen Williams and was for some reason called for a tech on that. And then, of course, the offensive foul in the first half, which was just his natural shooting motion against Alex Caruso, doesn't bother me so much that they called that in the first place. You call in the first place in the heat of the moment, whatever. But the fact that it was upheld upon challenging it is insanity. There were just a couple of calls in this game, and it's not the reason they lost. Like, they still were going to lose. They were down 26 in the fourth quarter before they made the fake comeback and all that. But some of the calls, I mean, I don't know. Sometimes it really does feel like Devin Booker is the collective punching bag of the NBA. And I'm just not sure why that is, but it was pretty bad tonight.
It was. It really was. Yeah. I think some interesting things happened in this game that we can talk about. The big star of the game, I think the guy who ended up really salvaging the game for himself was Dillon Brooks, who started out pretty poorly, ended the game with 30 points, 12 for 23 shooting, 5 for 9 from 3, and really was the reason the Suns had that fake comeback to begin with. Ended up playing pretty well overall. I thought he was kind of impressive in this game. Still minus 11. This is one of those games where you look at the plus minus and it's actually hilarious because Kaman Malawach, who played 19 minutes, was plus 10.
Oh, we'll talk about that later.
Played well, don't get me wrong. We'll talk about him because I think
dominated the game.
Yeah. Yeah.
From a plus minus standpoint.
From that standpoint, yeah.
Yeah. Look, Dillon Brooks, he went toe-to-toe with Shea for a while in this game. What did Shea finish with? He had 37 on 13 of 25 shooting. So, Shea was actually making jump shots in this game, especially in the second half. But he and Dillon, who of course know each other very well, were going toe-to-toe for a while. And it was a great Dillon Brooks game. It's just unfortunate that we can't seem to get Dillon Brooks and Jalen Green to have good games on the same night, because both of those guys are so streaky. And it would be great if this team could play to its full offensive potential. That would probably involve both of those guys having a good shot-making night on the same night.
Yeah.
I think what those two have in common, for better or worse, is audacity. And, Devin Booker needs a little bit more of that, right? Devin Booker needs a little bit more of the Jalen Green / Dillon Brooks approach at times, because this was another game here. And say what you will, OKC is defending him in a certain way for a reason. But Dillon Brooks finished this game with 23 shot attempts. Jalen Green, who played very poorly, finished this game with 23 shot attempts. Devin Booker, who played 40 minutes, only 7 for 14. So another game where I thought, Dillon Brooks was great. OKC did sort of successfully take Booker out of the offense for large stretches of this game, as is their general game plan.
Before the game, Devin Booker was interviewed at Shoot-Around this morning, and he talked about how important it was to not, get sort of trapped into iso ball against the Thunder. And the Thunder, who I think did occasionally show a double at him in game one, started this game like showing him two defenders the moment any screen was near him. And even at times, if he tried to isolate against a worse defender, a second defender would come. So for every moment, especially in the first half, Devin Booker was touching the ball, there was two guys on him, and it was clear that the game plan was to try to move the ball to find open threes. In some ways, the Suns got like sort of a role player performance out of at least Royce O'Neal that you would have expected out of like a home game and not a game on the road in these kinds of conditions. By the way, you can apologize to Royce O'Neal whenever you'd like.
I already did after game one. I'm not going to do this every game.
I mean, he's even better in this one.
You're allowed to say you were right one time, but you don't get to hold it over my head every game. We're not doing that. I've done my apologies to Royce O'Neal. He's a decent role player.
You apologize to him after one game after slandering him an entire season. Okay, but in like that was like kind of the role player performance that they need Colin Gillespie also to have a game like that, and ideally someone like Fleming or Dunn. But neither, Fleming didn't play, Dunn didn't play well. So it's nice to have one guy who could do that. And then, of course, Dillon Brooks had the game that he had. But, it's really tough when Devin Booker is shown that much of attention and guys aren't really punishing them on the other side of that outside of Royce O'Neal. Because even Dillon Brooks, the way he scores, we know he had 5 threes in this game that he made, and most of them were after swinging the ball a few times. But you know that he's really going to try to attack a one-on-one on a defender that he considers weaker than him to get to that mid-range shot as much as possible, and he did that 6 or 7 times in this game. And, the only way Devin Booker is going to get free is if guys are punishing that style of defense. And in this game, they didn't quite do it enough, although they did start, showing only one defender on him in the fourth quarter a little bit because guys were finally hitting shots. And that's the kind of thing they need to do. It'd be nice if that kind of happened in the first quarter, though.
I think 2 things happened. Dillon Brooks was more of a threat in the fourth quarter. There was also, and don't laugh when I say this, okay, but there was a different big playing the entirety of the fourth quarter who was a little bit of a conceivable role threat in a way that Oso Ighodaro has been a real problem in this series. And I think, this series has kind of exposed. I still like Oso Ighodaro. I think he has like the best net rating for the Suns in the regular season, and I'm really excited to see where his career goes from here. And I'm sure we'll do an internal development episode about him in the fall and whatever going into his 3rd season. But there's levels to this shit, and Oso through 2 games has 7 points on 3 of 11 shooting. All of those shots inside of like 5 feet. Like half of those shots not being able to finish over Shai Gilgeous-Alexander as the low man coming over to contest him at the rim. And then even if he does get the ball, he still misses. Obviously not a free throw shooter. And for so much of the opening 2 games, it's just felt like when the pace is high, they look good. They opened this game with a better pace, and I really thought they had a better pace about them attacking early, and if the Thunder weren't allowed to get their defense set, then the Suns had a chance. But when Oso was in the
tough
game,
to keep a pace up that high when you only have 7 playable players.
7 playable players on the road. No, I get it. When Oso was in the game and the Suns got into half-court offense, it felt like 4-on-5 every time. And obviously, Dylan Brooks is a streaky guy. Jalen Green is a streaky guy. And, like, you know, it's going to be hard no matter what for all those guys. I'm not blaming it all on Oso. It's just we cannot overlook the absolute lack of any paint presence whatsoever that the Suns offense has right now. And I just think it like is affecting everything in a way that's like not just trickling down. It's a massive wave that other guys just can't overcome because it's so difficult to overcome.
It really is. Oso is not matchup proof, as we know. There are good matchups for Oso Ighodaro. There are bad matchups for Oso Ighodaro. And that's why he's a backup center, right? Like, there's not a lot of centers that are really matchup proof. Those are the guys that you game plan for in the NBA. This is a bad matchup for Oso. They play 2 bigs. They're both big. They're both switchable. They're both able to recover and contest at the rim. You know, Hartenstein is much stronger than him, and then Chet can move his feet and shoot, and obviously his rim protection is insane. There's just not much he can do in this matchup because they can shade out on Devin Booker and still get back to cover Oso Ighodaro. And, like, worst case scenario, this is the trouble with Oso, just foul him. He can't make his free throws, which he did fine in this game, don't get me wrong. Well, he's 1 for 2, I guess. But, like, there's just so much you can do to contest what he's out there to help you do. Now, he did have 5 assists, which I give him credit for. Some of the passes were kind of nice. Some of them were fake assists, as we talk about with centers.
No, he had a couple.
1 block, 4 offensive rebounds. Like, he's doing some things out there. But you can just game plan for him so easily when you have a team as good as the Thunder, which they're very, very good.
He found cutters, and like you said, 4 offensive rebounds. The entire team did a great job on offensive rebounds here compared to game 1. So, like, yeah, he did a little bit, but the minus 23 sticks out in the box score for Oso as being the worst on the team, and just kind of matches the eye test with it, you know, in terms of it being way too easy to game plan for him and just not have to guard him when he's out there. Like, yeah, the occasional assist is nice. And he's made real strides as an offensive rebounder from his rookie season. But to your point, when he's the tallest guy for us and they've got both Chet and Hartenstein out there, you're just so outmatched physically, and everything becomes so difficult every possession.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, one of the starters I think who struggled, Colin Gillespie, started in this game, by the way. But Jordan, another thing I'll just mention, Jordan Goodwin would have really helped in this game. I know that's an obvious thing to say, but the fact that they could only play Royce O'Neal and surprise Kaman Malawach off the bench, you know, Ryan Dunn played 8 minutes, didn't play at all in the second half, and you really couldn't play him. Don't trust Rasheer Fleming, very clear right now. And I understand, why you wouldn't trust Rasheer Fleming. I still would like to see him play for that. Whatever stint you played with Ryan Dunn, the 8 minutes, try Rasheer Fleming instead, and if he looks better, play him in the second half. And if he looks bad, don't. It's fine. But Dunn doesn't look good, so switch that out. But Jordan Goodwin in those Colin Gillespie minutes would have really helped. Colin Gillespie still continues to not be able to find his shot against the Thunder. Was 1 for 5 from 3 in this game. Just did not. I will say that his passing was the best on the Suns in this game. He had 6 assists overall and was really helpful with finding ways to get other guys involved. Probably all 3 of Oso Ighodaro's buckets were assisted by Colin Gillespie, and he is finding shooters. Whether or not they make the shot is you never know. Jalen Green was 1 for 8 from 3, for example. Colin Gillespie himself was 1 for 5. Devin Booker can't hit a 3 right now to save his life, but isn't shooting a ton of them. And is getting to the
just
free throw
crazy.
line.
I mean, Book really shot like 40% from 3 in March and April, and then just the play-in hit. And how many threes has he made since the play-in?
Doesn't feel
0?
like much. Maybe 1, 2.
Look up his game log real quick. It feels like 0, man.
Yeah.
It's not much.
It's just, and I actually don't mind starting Colin Gillespie. This is a starting lineup that has worked in games in the past for the Suns. Maybe Mark Williams is in it at times, but this group of 5 is fine. The idea of sort of matching the Thunder with size, you're not going to do it. The Suns don't have it. They don't have the horses. They don't have the guys. They don't have the size to put in here.
Book is 2 for 14 in the 4 games of the play-in and this series. 2 for 14 from deep.
Mm-hmm.
Had a
One for every
great
7
post All-Star
physical.
break from deep, and then just playoffs hits, and you need it. And I mean, it would just
They are like almost entirely all pull-up threes in transition.
I know that's true.
And it's but it is like one of those things where I get why he shoots those. You got to put some pressure on the defense. They're not going in. They're not going in. I almost want him to just take one step in. Shoot that long too. It's what he's good at. He wasn't bad in this game, by the way. He had 22 points, 7 for 14 shooting. And, like on the broadcast, they're talking he needs to get more shots. He does. They need to find a way to get him more shots. That's true. But this defense is crazy. Like, you watch this team and you're like, what are the answers? There are none. The Suns don't have them. They just have to have a game where, like, Jalen Green, instead of going 1 for 8, goes 5 for 8. And Colin Gillespie, instead of going 1 for 5, goes 4 for 5. And now all of a sudden they win this game. That's really the answer for them.
There's also the fact that Jalen Williams went down with a hamstring
Huge.
injury in this
Maybe
game.
not for this series, but for the playoffs, it's huge.
Yeah, so who knows what's going on there. But Jalen Williams had 19 points in this game for the Thunder in 23 minutes, was just killing us, making every difficult shot.
Just driving into the paint like there was no defense. He looked like Giannis in that first half against the Suns. Just can get all the way to the rim over and over and over. They don't have other guys that can do that. Obviously, SGA can get whatever he wants. He's unbelievable, by the way. He was so good in this game. But like AJ Mitchell obviously can step in and do some of the stuff that
yeah,
Jalen
you'll get a little bit of more of AJ Mitchell next game, or maybe in the rest of the series. Who knows what's going to happen there with
but the
Williams,
size
but yeah.
of Williams and the defense he provides
Exactly,
at
yeah.
his position, it is just, you can't replicate that with anyone. There's the value of him is what it is for this team, and he's just another guy that they can throw at Devin Booker. And if they don't have him, I'm not sure what they do. They might actually start Caruso in that place and just let AJ continue coming off the bench.
If they start Caruso, I want to zag and I want to start Kaman Malawach, and I want to put Kaman Malawach on Alex Caruso defensively.
I don't mind
and
that.
just see what happens.
Just let Dylan Brooks try to close out on Caruso every time, because Dylan Brooks has had some awesome closeouts in this series. His defense has been good.
Did you realize how bad of a shooting season Caruso had this year? Because historically he's not like a good shooter, but I didn't realize he was sub 30% from three.
I didn't realize that either.
This regular season. And in the first half, Malawach came on the floor in his first stint, and they had him guarding Caruso.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. Like, that's a weird thing, is Malawach wasn't like a game breaker in this game or anything. He had a couple of really nice dunks. He had one really nice play, actually. I'll be nice to my favorite player, Royce O'Neal. Came down, took the ball himself in transition, put his body into, I don't remember who was guarding him, but gave a little hip check to someone, created a bit of space, got the low man to step up, and then threw a nice lob to Malawach. That was in the first half. And then he had another great dunk in the second half. So not like he's creating a ton of offense or whatever, but did his job, was big, maybe deterred some shots at the rim that you wouldn't normally see. So what do you think? Kaman Malawach starting game 3?
I mean, this game gave us a reason to say that could happen. To me, it's like,
I hope Mark Williams is back. is what I'll.
Well, yeah,
what
it's
I'll
just
actually
I
say.
don't think he. Foot injuries for bigs are not something you play with. Like, you just don't fuck that up. So I think there's a chance he's not going to be back for the rest of the playoffs. And I have no insider information on that, obviously, but that's just something that I would just assume.
Big thanks to our sponsor, BetterHelp, for partnering with us for this important conversation about mental health.
This is Steve Smith here, former NFL wide receiver and host of the 89 show on YouTube. So having a counselor and working with BetterHelp, that gives you an opportunity to really start to unpack, but people don't understand when you unpack things, you also open up a box that you're not always sure what's inside. So I think that's why seeing a professional is extremely important. If you need someone to open up to, visit BetterHelp. That's betterhelp.com/89 to get started.
Warning, the following ZipRecruiter radio spot you are about to hear is going to be filled with F-words.
When you're hiring, we at ZipRecruiter know you can feel frustrated, forlorn even, like your efforts are futile, and you can spend a fortune trying to find fabulous people, only to get flooded with candidates who are just fine. Fortunately, ZipRecruiter figured out how to fix all that. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/zip. With ZipRecruiter, you can forget your frustrations because we find the right people for your roles fast, which is our absolute favorite F word. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day.
Fantastic.
So, whether you need to hire 4, 40, or 400 people, get ready to meet first-rate talent. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/zip to try ZipRecruiter for free. Don't forget, that's ZipRecruiter.com/zip. Finally, that's ZipRecruiter.com/zip.
If you care about coffee and how it's made, check out Alchemy Roast. They roast in small batches and source their beans responsibly, focusing on flavor instead of mass production. The result is coffee that's balanced, well-developed, and easy to drink, whether you brew at home every day or just want something better than grocery store coffee. You can order online at alchemyroaster.com, and if you use the promo code TIMELINE at checkout, you'll get 10% off your order. Go now to alchemyroaster.com, my favorite coffee, and use the promo code TIMELINE at checkout. Get 10% off, support a local Phoenix business, and get the best coffee you can buy.
We've all been there. You're away for the weekend, the big game is on, and you realize you're restricted from watching. Or maybe you're trying to check the latest lines on your betting app, but your local network is blocking the site. These are the ultimate unforced errors. You can prevent this from happening to you with IPVanish. IPVanish is the powerhouse VPN designed to keep you in the game no matter where you are. IPVanish helps you stay connected to your favorite team and streaming services while you travel. But it's not just about watching the game. For the bettors out there, IPVanish provides an extra layer of security and privacy that helps you access your account safely on public Wi-Fi. Plus, IPVanish is lightning fast, so you won't have to worry about lag during those crucial live betting moments. Right now, get a massive discount at IPVanish.com. That's IPVANISH.com to get started today. Secure your play and go to IPVanish.com.
Warning, the following ZipRecruiter radio spot you are about to hear is going to be filled with F words.
When you're hiring, we at ZipRecruiter know you can feel frustrated, forlorn even, like your efforts are futile, and you can spend a fortune trying to find fabulous people, only to get flooded with candidates who are just fine. Fortunately, ZipRecruiter figured out how to fix all that. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/zip. With ZipRecruiter, you can forget your frustrations because we find the right people for your roles fast, which is our absolute favorite F word. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day.
Fantastic.
So, whether you need to hire 4, 40, or 400 people, get ready to meet first-rate talent. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/zip to try ZipRecruiter for free. Don't forget, that's ZipRecruiter.com/zip. Finally, that's ZipRecruiter.com/zip.
Let's talk about Jalen Green real quick. And we can go back to who they should start the next game in a minute. But Jalen Green finished the game 23 shots, 21 points, 1 for 8 from 3, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, 7 turnovers, and 2 steals was minus 12. It really felt like every time the Suns had momentum, Jalen Green zapped it a few times in that fourth quarter. And that's just really tough. I overall, the 7 turnovers are bad, obviously. And Book had 6, right? In some ways, like, I don't want to make excuses for this team or anything, but in some ways, I just expect them to have a ton of turnovers against this team. The physicality that the Thunder are allowed to play with compared to other teams defensively means that they're going to turn you over a lot.
There was one replay.
But there was some real dumb decisions made by Jalen Green in this game.
There was one replay. This was like 2 minutes after the Booker offensive foul against Alex Caruso, but where they were doing a replay, Jalen Williams, when he was still in the game, got a steal on Book. And they go to the replay, and it's in slow motion, and Doris is like, look at this amazing defense from Jalen Williams on Book. And you can just see in the slow-mo, he just has Booker's wrist, not his hand. He's just holding his wrist. And just nothing is called, just allowed to keep harassing him until they pick it off. And sure enough, OKC finished with like 14 steals in this game, and the Suns had 21 turnovers. So yeah, a certain amount of it is expected. Jalen had some particularly bad decisions throughout this game. Once he touched a foot in the paint and then decided he wanted to pass at the wrong time, or got it stripped from him when two guys converged on him. And against this team, they're just too good. You just don't have a chance if they're going to score 20 more points fast break or off of turnovers compared to you. And that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, they're going to continue to do that. The Suns could do a better job of turning them over and actually trying to compete in the turnover battle. They can't win if they're going to lose that battle by 11. But even if you do turn them over, they're going to get back in transition. They're not a team that doesn't get back in transition. They're going to get back. And it's still going to be difficult to score in those scenarios. I still think, I don't know, it feels kind of stupid saying this, but I still think giving Jamaree Bouyea a try is not that crazy of a thing to ask here. You're not playing much guys anyway, and the size battle is not something you're going to win. So somebody who's fast and can get downhill occasionally, I think might actually help you against this team. And
Game
Bouyea
3 starters, we've got Jamaree Bouyea starting point guard. Kaman Malawach starting center. Matt Ishbia, sixth man off the bench.
I've seen him, slay a 7-foot center before, 7'6" center or whatever he was. So
you're talking
give it a try.
You're talking about Taco Fall.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Could try and have him cross over Chet. See how that looks.
That sounds like a torn ACL waiting to happen. So Matt Ishbia sitting courtside looking like Gil from The Simpsons, just sweating his ass off. I really appreciate it, man, because they never show him, and he never looks like he's having a good time in these like high, important games. He just looks like a guy who bet his entire life savings on the game. and everything is going the wrong way.
Well,
like he really needs he needs like a baggy suit with like a tie that's pulled open a little bit and to be holding a horse track ticket in his hands. That's really what I want to see.
So again, I don't want to I tried to steer us away from it a little bit in the post game one conversation. I don't want to talk too much about the offseason unless they go down. Hard. Unless they go down 3-0. Once they go down 3-0, we can start talking about it.
We just trade the whole team. Yeah.
The one thing I'll say here though is we've speculated before that Ishbia, obviously he's a huge basketball fan. He, unlike the new Portland owner who seems like a total asshole, Ishbia bought this team because he's a real basketball fan, right? He's not just viewing it as a business, although he is viewing it as a business, but not just that. But there's that also, that sneaking suspicion of wanting the Suns to be good for when they host the All-Star game next year, right? Wanting to kind of be able to throw a big party with the Suns actually being at the center of NBA culture for that weekend and them just being a relevant story in general. And so, going into a series like this and watching them perform like this, it hurts. And, we're not going to talk about the offseason yet, but if they do go down 3-0 after Game 3 in Phoenix, we'll start to think about it, right? I mean, every time they pan over to him, just because he's right there, I'm like, what is he thinking? Yeah. Is he having the same thoughts as us about Jalen Green, Dylan Brooks, Oso Ighodaro, Bryce O'Neal, Grayson Allen, Mark Williams, Colin Gillespie? You go down the line, and it's like, there's no one on this team is really 100% safe except Devin Booker, I would say, going into next season. So it's kind of fascinating.
He seems to really like Dylan Brooks, I think.
There's so many directions they could go. Yeah.
I'm not saying Dylan Brooks should absolutely be safe, but I think he probably is.
He would trade Dylan Brooks for Draymond Green, unfortunately.
I hate that you say that. I hate that you said that because the Warriors might do that.
Yeah, I bet they would.
God, I hate that. You don't think this is he's not sitting there thinking this is a moral victory for the narrative I created to start the season about this team compete. We're not watching it. We're recording immediately. What is inside the NBA saying right now? Is Chuck on there going my Suns competed, that kind of thing? Or that's not the thing that he's thinking about, you think?
Probably not. Look, at least I don't know what Inside's saying right now. I did not watch the Detroit-Orlando game before us tonight, but I saw Orlando finish with 83 points. And all respect to Orlando.
What? I did not see that score.
They took game one off of Detroit, so all due respect to them for that. But they scored 83 points against the Pistons tonight, so it could be worse.
That is so rough.
They shot 33% from the field and 25% as a team tonight, and Paolo had, honestly, it's not even worth, like, Paolo, Franz, Bane, Suggs, you go down the line, all of them just shot poorly.
So in a lot of ways, I think the Suns kind of had the right game plan, right?
In general, they cleaned up a lot of things from game one. They hit the glass harder. They played faster. It was turnovers. Turnovers is the persistent theme that has now killed the Suns 2 games in a row. But whereas in game one, it was like all the turnovers plus the rebounding issues, plus, the pace issues. They fixed some of it. It's just not enough. They lost by 13 on the road against the number 1 seed. They covered. Yeah, I don't want to
They were 14. The Thunder were favored by 14.5 points.
Yeah, and it sucks to talk about moral victories like that, but I feel like they did 85-90% of executing their game plan, and they still lost by 13 against a really good team. So to your point, what's it going to take in Game 3 for the Suns to win? First of all, they need a real game where they take 43s. They took 31 in this game. They need to generate at least 43s, and they need to make at least 40% of those. And that can come from anywhere. It can come from Royce, Colin, Jalen, Dylan, literally any Malawach if he wants to start in the next game and take 5 threes. He took one really ill-advised 3 in this game, which was very funny.
It was kind of early in the shot clock too. He was wide open, but it was early enough in the shot clock where I was like, did they tell him to do that? Like, is that something the coach told him to do? He really looked like he's like, I got this.
They just need a game where they need a game where they benefit from the crowd and they continue to bring the rebounding focus and concentration that they had in this one, but also just shoot really well. That's not like interesting analysis. But
it's tough because you're asking them to play well without 3 of their best, because they're playing 7 players in this game, and this is where I love Kaman Malawach, and I am excited about his future. He really won me over in the last few months of the season as far as what he could be. We got lucky that he was okay on the floor tonight. That is not something you can bank on in the next game, which we can talk about that in a second. But the fact that they're playing 7 guys and 3 of them, Grayson Allen, Mark Williams, and Jordan Goodwin, would have played in this game and probably would have contributed a lot is really tough. And there's no reason to believe that any of those 3 players will be back in the next game, regardless of what Grayson Allen's status would be. But you need 5 threes by Colin Gillespie. Ideally, you'd have a 5-3 Grayson Allen game off the bench too. That's how you win a game like this. And you need 7 offensive rebounds from Jordan Goodwin or whatever he's done multiple times before. That's how you steal one. Without those guys, it's why I keep saying, you're looking for answers. There's just not many. Even without Jalen Williams on their team, which does impact them a lot. The Suns are missing more. They're just missing more as far as what they need to actually win a game. And it's really tough.
If the Thunder were without Jalen Williams, hypothetically, for the rest of the series, but the Suns got Mark Williams and Grayson back, then it's not an even series at that point or anything, but then you can talk about, okay, they can actually go into games 3 and 4 and have a real shot at stealing these. As it is, it's really tough. Because also, if OKC is going to watch the film and say, Malawach played 19 minutes, should we just be super prepared in case they're going to go to him for 30 minutes next game?
There's a game plan there, yeah.
There could be a game plan there to frustrate Malawach when he does catch the ball in the middle of the floor, if he catches the ball in the middle of the floor, in a way that you're absolutely right. Malawach could have 6 turnovers. It's a playoff environment that he's not ready for.
6 turnovers, at the free throw line, that turns into just this galloping 5 OKC Thunder players running at the rim with the last person down the floor being the 7-foot Kaman Malawach, which is really
real Kevin Durant versus Marcus Smart and Luke Kennard turnover vibes. Yeah. Had to throw one shot out there. If we're going down, then others are going down with me.
would you actually start Kaman Malowich for real?
No. I would not, but Oso has a much shorter leash now that we recognize that it's just a bad matchup for him, and I'm not afraid to pull the plug early. But no, I probably wouldn't go as far as starting Malowich in Game 3.
Yeah, I feel the same way. You give him time, especially in the first half, see if it works. Maybe
there's
even
also
a little bit
there's still the Rashir. There's still the Rashir option. They just really don't trust him, I guess.
Yeah, and maybe there's something else going on, but like I really think they should try him. Something else going on, like maybe he's not fully healthy or something. By the way, I'm not saying like something nefarious. They're trading him for Giannis.
We're not there yet. Save it for the post Game 3 pod.
This comes from the guy who said they're playing Royce O'Neal just to boost his trade value.
They are. And he's going to go for a glorious 29th overall pick at his current rate. His current value.
Rasheer Fleming.
It's pretty high.
So start him. Look, it's not overly complicated to say what the Suns need to win this one. They can do what they did. I think they actually played really good defense in this one, regardless of the 120 points OKC scored. They could play this style of defense and just do a little bit better, maybe limiting the 3-point attempts and trying to get more up there than the Thunder, which is, a lot to ask against this team, considering every time you drive, when you drive, you create threes, but every time you drive on this team, you have it feels like 6 guys surrounding you. Really, it's like 8 guys if you include the 3 refs, which are on the team, am I right? And then you try to pass out of that. That's how you get all these turnovers. So it's tough to create threes against this team. But if they have the right game plan to create those kinds of threes, that's what they need to win. Trying their best, obviously, to win the offensive rebound battle, which they did do in this game. And if they can do that again in the next game, but turn the ball over less, get a few threes instead of those turnovers, that's how you steal a game. And look, like I said, Jalen Green playing better. There's going to be one game where Jalen Green blows up for 30 points. There is. I don't know when it's going to be. I could be wrong, of course, but that just seems like something that happens with him.
Can it happen the same game that Dillon Brooks also has 25 points?
Probably not. Doesn't seem like that's possible.
Because if those two things can happen at the same time, that's the game they're stealing right there.
Yeah.
But it's a lot to ask for.
I think they probably will start the same 5 guys. I don't think that's the worst decision here. I mean, you could start Royce O'Neal in Colin Gillespie's place, but just having
Colin, by the way,
do a little bit of dribbling is really helpful.
The Suns had more offensive rebounds in this game, and Colin, I just wanted to say real quick, was part of that. He had 3 offensive rebounds himself, followed his own shot, did his part to, embody the spirit of a former Dan Marley Hustle winner. It doesn't take away from the fact that he's really small compared to the Thunder, right? And it doesn't take away from the fact that Shea is going to target him every single time. Like when he's on the court, that's the guy, that's the matchup that Shea wants, obviously. But Colin, contributed to the rebound margins and all that. And I don't think starting him is necessarily the wrong choice, given
there's no answers.
Given the limited options that Jordan had.
I'm just going to keep saying it. There's not a lot you could get mad at here when they, don't have a lot of playable guys.
If they
I understand wanting to see Rasheer. I do too.
Booker, okay, hear me out. Booker, okay. Jalen, Brooks, Rasheer, and Malowich, starting 5. What's the worst that could happen? We lose?
Yeah.
That is a big lineup. It's a big lineup. It has 4 shooters on the floor. 5 if you think that Malowich is going to go full Brook Lopez. Maybe a lot of turnovers. But I don't know. There's a chance that if Colin...
There's a funny argument online that people say, they're like, well, just play the rookies. We're going to lose anyway. It's just a really funny argument to me to have in the playoffs of all times. You know what? Like in the regular season? Sure. Yeah. But like in the playoffs, you're trying to win. You're trying to win.
I'm really glad that Malowich played tonight, though, because he didn't have to and, actually showed us something, And he's going to take those minutes. He's going to take those reps into next season. It was important that he played.
One of the things I like about recording immediately after a loss is that we're not on Twitter. We're not on Reddit. What do you think the temperature of the fan base is right now? Do you think they're really pissed after this game? Do you think that
I really only think I mean, obviously some people are going to get really emotional anytime your team is in the playoffs, no matter what, and they're going to be super pissed. And if you look online in those spaces, you'll find people who are super pissed. I think most people came into this series with the right expectations from my understanding.
Yeah, I agree.
So
with that.
I don't know. Am I being too optimistic about people there? Because I really think most people understand what the Suns are up against here, and it doesn't have to take away from your enjoyment of an otherwise fun season. As we talk about, okay, how do they take the next step next year? That's a different conversation. That could turn into like a very heated debate, and it is a heated debate in our Discord, and I get it. But like our expectations for what they should be right now, there's a talent gap here, okay? And I don't know if the Suns have any answers for it.
It's just funny. It's funny to be a doomer. I don't feel like I'm being a doomer.
You know what?
If they were healthy, I'd have a little bit more analysis here. But, you know, it is what it is.
If I can be honest, last thing I'll say before we go, if there's any conversation right now that you know would have me a little nervous as a Suns fan and that I could see being a little bit emotional, is a Devin Booker conversation that's starting to come up. That would be what I would be most worried about. You know, not so much like the other guys and who's going to be traded in the offseason and who's going to be re-signed and whatever, but you know, talking about Devin Booker as the number one option and the ceiling for what that is. We know what the ceiling was for that in 2022 or 2021 when the Suns made the finals. Was it 2021?
2021. Yeah,
it was 2021. We knew what the ceiling
2022 actually didn't happen, I think, from my memory. There was no, they canceled the playoffs, I think.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you're right.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, we don't have to get into that right now in minute 35 of this podcast, but
I opened the old Twitter app real quick just to see. The first tweet I see is a tweet from Devin Booker's brother. It says, "Not only is this the worst city I have ever stepped foot in, but also the corniest team I have ever watched play basketball." So there we are. There we are. Anything else before we go, Sam?
The worst city he's ever stepped foot in? Oklahoma City?
I guess so.
I don't know anything about it.
You know one thing.
I gotta invite him to the Rust Belt.
That's right.
We could go on a tour of some beautiful post-industrial America together.
That's right. All right. Thanks everyone for listening. Back after Game 3. We appreciate you all.
Warning, the following ZipRecruiter radio spot you are about to hear is going to be filled with F-words.
When you're hiring, we at ZipRecruiter know you can feel frustrated, forlorn even, like your efforts are futile, and you can spend a fortune trying to find fabulous people, only to get flooded with candidates who are just fine. Fortunately, ZipRecruiter figured out how to fix all that. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/zip. With ZipRecruiter, you can forget your frustrations because we find the right people for your roles fast, which is our absolute favorite F word. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day.
Fantastic.
So, whether you need to hire 4, 40, or 400 people, get ready to meet first-rate talent. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/zip to try ZipRecruiter for free. Don't forget, that's ZipRecruiter.com/zip. Finally, that's ZipRecruiter.com/zip.